Sean Capri, and welcome to We the GamerCast that publishes on podcast services at youtube.com/carpoolgaming every single Monday. Patrons get it first. Thank you for subscribing to the YouTube, for the podcast, for hitting the like button, for leaving a comment, even if you just said, I'm here. And also, thank you for telling your mom, for telling your dad, for telling your dad's dad, tell your dad's dad. Maybe grandpa wants to hear We the GamerCast and see what Cheezy has to say about TikTok and all that. It seems like that's exactly what you would want your grandpa or your pop-up or whatever you call your grandpa to say. Welcome in, you guys. I'm so glad that you guys are all here. What a week it has been. Oh my goodness gracious, there is so much to talk about, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because if you're new, here's the deal. Every week I get to have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. And if you want to be on the show, it's pretty easy. Just tweet at me at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants, you guys. I've got like a whole, I don't know if you guys don't really ever get to see like my whole setup here, but like I've got 3 monitors going. I've been all at work this morning. I've been doing admin stuff. I was hanging out with the backtrackers in our Discord and they're talking about bug snacks and that was really cool. And just kind of like, I got to be a bit of a fly on the wall. It was almost like listening to a podcast that we don't publish. We don't produce it anywhere. And as somebody who does this so often, and I have obviously some sort of sickness that compels me to record stuff and broadcast it. We got the backtrackers who are just talking about games. It's not for any reason. It's just for community. And that's like the purest thing I think that I've seen in a very long time. It was very cool to hang out with those guys this morning. And that group continues to grow. It's like a fight club. I don't know if we're really allowed to talk about the backtrackers, but we do. And every time it happens, more people show up. And in case you guys don't know what the heck I am talking about, the Backtrackers is a community-driven video game book club. Today they all played Bug Snacks and they were all talking about it, and huge kudos to Delroy and Marcus O'Neill for spearheading that, and it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon. Now, what I'll hear right after recording this is they go, we need a break, but I don't think so. It seems like it's gaining some traction. You guys owe it to yourselves to join the Discord and jump on in. Many other things happen in the Discord, but probably most notable these days is the Backtrackers. Goodness gracious, you guys. Holy crap. And really, none of it would even be possible. I wouldn't be talking to you here on youtube.com/carpoolgaming if it wasn't for our nearly 90 patrons. We actually might be are we over 90? We are so close. I haven't checked in a little bit. And now I'm changing my screen. I don't want to do that because I got to go back to that screen in a little bit. And I want to thank everybody who supports us at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. It makes this all possible. And honestly, starting to think we might have something here. So thank you so much to our ultimate producers, the handsome Tony Baker from Quest for Pixels. You can subscribe to their YouTube channel at youtube.com/quest4pixels. Dallas Ford, Emily O'Kelly, Trucker Sloth, Johnathan Brown, of course, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the Nintendo Drive. Download his new album, In My Element, on Spotify and Apple Music. Drew Agnew, the handsome son of a bitch from House of Mario podcast. You should go subscribe. That's the best damn Nintendo podcast on the internet. Maybe tied with Nintendo Shack. Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. Join our Extra Life team, you guys. I think I need to have Lee on pretty soon, actually, because we're gonna start talking about this pretty significantly. I'm gonna be in Rome, New York. I would love it for you guys to be there right beside me on the couch. Let's play games together and raise money for them kids. Skinny Matt hosting Carpool Gaming Community Nights. I need to talk to you, Skinny Matt. We need to set some stuff up here. I see you doing this stuff. Let's make this a thing. Follow Matt, please. Twitch.tv/SkinnyMattK. All the links are in the show notes. Go over right now. Just swipe over. Or if you're on YouTube, they're all here. Click the show notes. Follow every one of these people. That would be amazing. Thank you guys so much. Platinum producers, Brendan Myers, Dano, Marcus McCracken, Mostly Martinez, Becky Rubin Navarro, and Robbie Bobby Miller, and of course, RJ Kern. Our gold members, Anna, Argo, Ashley Nicholson, Cecily Carrozza, Dallas Robbins, Foolish Fuji, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, Nagachaka, The Snack Network, Tom Danks, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, and our newest patron, the Muffin Mon, our guest last week. You guys heard him do it live on the show, and I ruined his surprise, Kevin Ainsworth. A wonderful chat with Kevin last week. And also, speaking of Kevin will be, this is news to most people. Most people don't know this at all. I don't think we've even shared this online at all. Kevin will be joining us, depending on when you're listening to this. He has already joined us. We are recording the Xbox Drive E3, quote unquote E3 predictions. We're going to record that on Monday. What is that? The 23rd? It's a long weekend for us. Yes, it's the 23rd. Carpool Gaming YouTube. You guys should check it out. I cannot wait to see what we think is going to happen, and then obviously we're going to be wrong. These predictions, like every year, we think we're going to be in better shape than the last year. We never get it right. And we have a lot of predictions. It's not even, it's like you have 3 people, 5 predictions each, and we'll get like maybe 1, maybe 2, and maybe partial points. It's pretty remarkable how terrible we are at all of this stuff, you guys. Holy crap. So thank you to everybody for supporting us at Patreon. And speaking of which, with these recent updates, you guys, we have reached our new and our largest milestone ever. As long as I've ever been doing content creation, we've never been this prolific. Is that the word? That's not, this successful. It sounds weird to say it like that. But anyways, the Patreon is at a totally new level. We put a new milestone out recently. We thought of this idea that wouldn't it be interesting to have one group of people really like one game and then fight a whole bunch of another group of people who like a totally different game? Wouldn't that be fun? Well, we're going to do it. And what the heck are we calling this thing? Right now we're calling it Project Video Game Deathmatch. I'm not sure. I need your guys' help on this one. Basically, what we're going to do is have, like, for example, the first episode will be a bunch of people who like The Last of Us, and we're going to argue against the people who like The Last of Us Part 2, and we'll see who comes out on top. Hopefully it's respectful. Hopefully it's civil, but we'll see. This is going to be a pilot for the first 3 months. It'll be a once a month podcast. For 3 months, we got to stay at this level at Patreon. We can't dip down, otherwise we'll kind of just, I don't know, I guess we'll stop. But we just want to stay there. So, but if we reach 3 months at this level, this will be another one of the podcasts that just is available for everybody. So this is the whole make us better spirit for those of you who have been with me for a long time. That's always been at the heart of the Patreon, is like, what do you guys want to see us do? Let's work together. And then it just makes the overall, I guess, product, which sounds weird to say, but it makes it better. And it's another thing for other people to find us and discover all the other shows. I'm really excited about that one. I want to tell you guys that this week was pretty good at the gym. I'm still collecting I've got my wristbands from the rec center that I go to. So when I get like, and look at that, that's a whole week. I did it. I went every single morning, even when I didn't feel like going. I think I talk about that with Cheezy here in just a second. So I'm feeling good on that front. And not to make it so like blowhardy and all about me, I have really appreciated a little community that's kind of gathering around this. There's lots of us who are like, okay, now is the time. We're going to get off our butts, and whatever that means. Some of us I see some of you doing 5K runs in 27 minutes. I see what you're doing, and I appreciate you because that gives me something to chase. But it doesn't matter whether you're doing 5Ks in 20 minutes or you're doing, a mile walk at a time, whatever. We're getting off our butts. We're getting active. Another channel there in the Discord. You guys should join us. And if you want to have some accountability too, I've been enjoying messaging a whole bunch of people first thing in the morning. I'm up. I'm at it. Let's do this. We're in it together. It's been time, man. It's been really good. Another quick reminder to everybody that I'm going to be in Toronto. When am I going to be in Toronto? June 11th and 12th. I'll be on the 12th. We're doing the watch party at FanFest with Xbox Canada and a whole bunch of amazing people there. So if you guys are in that area, hit me up. I'm going to be landing at like 2:30. So if anybody wants to pick me up, by the way, that would also be very sweet. But yeah, man, I'm really excited about it. Quick reminder as well. Carpool Gaming is on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. But other than that, I kind of want to just get to my guest, Cheezy C from the Nintendo Powercast. I met him through N64 Josh, who was also on a few weeks ago. What a sweet man. What a nice dude. You guys are really going to enjoy this conversation. I think you are anyways. I really enjoyed my time. Why don't we just I'm not even going to ruin it, but I reminded myself about TikTok. Oh, that's the one thing I want to say before we get into this. We talk about TikTok quite a lot, and I actually talk about it as if Carpool Gaming is not on TikTok already. What I was really thinking throughout this conversation is my own kind of like gaming streaming. But I want to let you guys know that we are on TikTok. So go follow us there, help us grow there. That's the next thing, man. And Court Lalonde, I'm telling you, we got to set up some sort of goal. Court Lalonde, twerking on TikTok. I think we can make it happen. So, why don't you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Cheezy. Have you come to grips with this is just life now? We're gonna be into this nerdy stuff forever? Or is that even a thing for you? How do you reconcile being a dork and an adult all at the same time?
Yeah, well, being a dork, I think that is just in my DNA.
Same.
Took me a while though, because I was kind of bullied for it. And like I was part of the whole like, oh, I've got a Nintendo Wii and everyone's got a, Xbox and PlayStation. And this was high school time, and so got bullied for that a little bit. And then just like family members who don't really understand why you haven't grown out of watching cartoons or, playing games. Like that took a while actually. Like,
I to come to grips with and own it.
Didn't want to accept it. Yeah.
Yeah. So were you like kind of closeted about it? Like, is that a fair kind of, because I feel like I'm in the same boat and I feel like many people are.
Yes and no. Like, I think I was pretty open about the fact that I liked Nintendo and stuff, but I guess honestly, maybe it's kind of how I feel now. Like everybody knows that I'm into it, but I don't really talk about it with like outside of the gaming community.
Yeah. Do you, because like I work from home now, so I jump on like professional calls and like this is where I do, like I don't change anything. So yeah, everybody kind of, they see it and they get quite distracted from this stuff. So it's like at my workplace, it's like it's all completely open. But other than that, I don't necessarily like go around, I don't know, talking about it. I guess I'll wear a shirt that like if you know, that's about it, I guess. Yeah.
And those, I think, like, those are always the best interactions, too. It's like when you're wearing something that somebody may know, but it's, like, so obscure. But they were like, oh, yeah, I like that shirt. Like,
I have a, what was it? I think it's an Emerald Hills, like, track team shirt. And it looks like a high school, like, track shirt, but it's Sonic. Yeah. And I don't even, like, love Sonic. And it's, like, this kind of vague outline of Sonic. So, and if you see it, like, if you know what Sonic looks like, you can tell. But otherwise, it just looks like a track shirt. Like it looks, I don't know, like a high school athletics kind of shirt. And I love it, man. I love that stuff.
Do you ever get nervous about like buying stuff that you're not really a fan of, but you bought it because you liked it, and then people interacting with you and being like, "Oh, you're a fake fan," that kind of thing?
I probably should be. And funny enough, like nobody's ever commented on this Sonic one. It must be like that subtle. And also, I typically wear like a hoodie over top of most shirts, so I actually don't even know if anybody's really seen the entire shirt all by itself. So I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like I feel like everything that I own or wear probably am actually a pretty big fan of. But I mean, funny enough, it's actually in my hats. I buy baseball hats everywhere I go, everywhere I travel. Or I just went to Nashville, bought a Predators hat. Like I'm not a Predators fan. I've got a Blue Jays hat. I don't watch baseball at all. So that's definitely a thing. But what about for you? Like, do you have stuff? I guess if you're just buying random stuff, then that could probably happen to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in high school, you were buying like random band T-shirts.
I see kids doing that all the time, man. It's like, you haven't listened to Pearl Jam? You don't even know what Pearl Jam is. Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You're 10.
I think I had like a Rolling Stone T-shirt, and
classic.
I'm trying to think like Sympathy of the Devil. Is that the song?
I don't think so.
Okay.
By the Rolling Stones? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know the Rolling Stones at all.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I don't know. Pleased to meet you.
Oh yeah,
anyway,
of course.
That one.
Do you sing at all? Do you ever like if you get like just in the car by yourself, like do you sing? I don't know why you look like a singer to me.
That's interesting. I was in choir.
There you go. Like, okay. Yeah.
I don't think that I sang well by myself, but like with a group, yeah.
Crushing it.
Yeah.
Choir like as a kid, like I think I was in choir as like in elementary and stuff. Dress up, you go to recitals and things like that.
Yeah, get on the robes and stuff. Like
the robes, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I love that. I love it. Well, where did you grow up? Like, I actually don't know. I haven't had one of these in a long time. Like, I actually don't know a heck of a lot about you. So it'll be kind of quintessential We the GamerCast here, man. Let's go back to the beginning.
All right, yeah. So, where did I grow up? Denver, Colorado. I went blank there. Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
And then I guess I don't know why I'm talking about high school so much, but that's kind of where I was able to like kind of find myself. Before all of that, I was like into sports. Like that was a big thing for me. I did a lot of baseball, basketball, and football.
Yeah.
Once I got to high school, baseball found out that I'm really good at drawing in the dirt. And that is not really how you play baseball.
Like literally drawing in the dirt, like just picking dandelions and
yeah. You know, they were just like, I don't care. Go left field, get like far away as possible.
That's awesome.
Football, my position was nose guard, and if you're familiar with, so
I'd never heard of that position. I'm not completely unfamiliar with football, but I've never heard of a nose guard. I actually don't know what that is at all.
Yeah, I think they probably made it up.
I was gonna say, it sounds like a position they would make up for the kid who plays left field out in baseball.
Yeah, no, this is that position. So
I
was on the defensive line.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can't tell from your screen. I'm a tiny dude, especially like in 4th grade, 6th grade. Like, so my job was to be positioned up against the center, and basically just do what I can, but mainly fall, because they're gonna like be pushing up against me, right? So if I fall, then they fall, and it's gonna help the linebackers get to like the running back or the quarterback.
Why would they ever do that to you? That's not that's not what you should have been doing.
No.
Were you fast at all though? Like, were you like springy? Like, were you wiry? You could have done anything else. That sounds like the last place.
Yeah, I mean, I did eventually get into like cornerback. So I was on like, you know, I was in the back and I could like chase after running backs and so that was good. But yeah, that first couple years, it was brutal. I got 2 concussions. And then
like, how old are we talking about? Like, this is before high school, you're saying?
Yeah, so that was like 4th grade, 6th grade. So I would have been like, I don't know, 10, 11, something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And what was like the protocol back then? Like, this is not exactly yesterday. It's a little while ago. Like, we were kind of like shake it off. I feel like concussion treatment and protocol has completely changed probably every 3 or 4 years. Like, it's way more serious. So I can only imagine if we're going back then. It's like, if you're feeling better, you're probably good.
It was pretty much just like finish out the practice and then
finish off the practice.
Yeah. From there, you know, if you want to,
that's what I was expecting.
Go to the hospital, then, you know, you could do that. So
when did you learn that you were concussed? Like, what was that diagnosis like?
It's hard to say because I don't really remember, you know, that's kind of how concussions work.
No doubt.
So, I don't know. I think it was just like my head really hurts. And my mom, she's a ophthalmologist, something eye, you know, like all of that.
That is so funny. This just came up in another podcast I was recording, ophthalmologist, and I thought eye thing too. That is so funny. I don't know if that's true or not. I feel like I just looked it up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back now. This just came up. This is very recent, but in any case.
Interesting.
Yeah. Weird.
And so she was like, yeah, your eyes are very dilated. They're not looking good, you know? And so I got 2 concussions from that. Then basketball.
Wait. What was the hit like? What happened? Do you like, is that the part that you don't remember?
I was just like head-to-head contact, you know, especially going after centers, you know, that are.
Yeah. Does that not seem like violent for that age? Is that not like, that's too much? Is that not too much? I don't know. I'm a Canadian, but although we play hockey and we put stop signs on the back of the jerseys for the kids. Like, that's an actual thing. Yeah, because and I actually think there was one incident that happened that kind of like sparked it, where a kid got hit from behind and I think he got paralyzed or maybe even died. And then they just like, they put stop signs on the back so so people would actually stop, I guess they would. But
so what does that mean? Like, you just slow down if you're getting too
you just
close,
can't hit somebody in the numbers, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's just a no-brainer, right? But I think they had to do something. So, but yeah, it's just like there's these. This is something that I struggle with, to be honest with you, because I have 2 kids and I grew up playing soccer, but it's not nearly as like contact as hockey or football. But there's no equipment, right? So it's not necessarily evens out, but it's definitely a thing. And I've watched players just destroy either their face or the rest of their head or their knee or whatever. So sports and like the injuries that come along with it, I think it's very conflicting. And now as a parent, I look at my kids and go like, I want them to play, but goodness gracious, I don't know if I can even handle it, because I've seen what can happen out there.
Yeah, it gets really intense these days.
Yeah.
And it's also the parents too that are are more intense than the kids themselves. So
You wonder if maybe they need to get hurt. You know what I mean? Maybe for them to settle down. Like, if you not had a career-ending injury kind of thing,
yeah,
we all got to go to school tomorrow. We got to go to work tomorrow. That's the beer league mentality of it all. Anyway,
yeah.
When you were in it, were you not like, this seems kind of intense, or was it just? I mean, you're just playing like everybody else.
Yeah. So I mean, like my dad, he wasn't intense, but I hated the first year of football.
You did,
and I wanted to quit. But like our family motto is like, you don't quit, you finish it out. And I think that's probably also like they spent money, for you to do this thing. So they want you to.
You can't waste it.
Yeah. But at the same time, maybe it's like the experience that they want you to gain from it.
Definitely toughing, like doing something you don't want to do is something probably a lot of us could be instilled with. And I would do the exact same thing. My parents did the exact same thing as well. Like, at least give it a season. But with something like football, it's like the chances of injury are every single play.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. So that's almost like that's like a regret. Like, ooh, he really wanted to get out and we pushed him in there. I don't know. Have you ever talked to your parents about anything like that? You're like, I wanted out and I got like serious head injury because of this.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me think about like, especially that motto of like, we don't quit things, like, you finish it out. I think there's a lot of things that I have trouble quitting or feeling like I am failing because of, not wanting to continue it.
Like what?
I don't know. Like, I guess like work is a good example, like I don't have anything at the moment, but just like a job that I had in the past, I was just hated, but like, how long do you stick it out? What does it mean to not quit? Or when is it time to quit? Like that kind of thing.
And so have you figured this out? Because I think this is something everybody deals with, and there's pros and cons to both sides. Like I think the pro to sticking it out is you've got to be learning something, and there's something to be said about the resilience that you'd gain out of that. But also, like, maybe it's impacting your overall mental health, and maybe you're taking like years off of your life from this stuff. And like, is it completely needless? So I don't even know if there is an answer to it, but I'm curious like where you've kind of arrived or where you are on your journey on this.
I mean, I don't know if I have an answer, but I do know that failing is part of the journey, right? Like we all need to fail to learn and grow. So you kind of, I guess, do have to stick it out a bit. And then like if it is tearing you apart, then that's probably time to quit.
I feel like a lot of people are making that move these days, actually, and leaning a little bit more towards like, I'm just out of here, man. Like, enough is enough with this. And it seems like, I don't know if it's absolutely everybody, but people, it seems like we're a little quicker to be doing that right now. And I have no judgment on it. I think it's just interesting that maybe it's because of COVID. Maybe it's this whole like lockdown. Maybe it's a realization that we only get one shot at this whole thing. Yeah. Like, I don't know, maybe it's all the things combined, like kind of trickling in all at once. But yeah, I think people's patience for bullshit is like kind of at its end. And that's got to be a good thing, I think, overall. Yeah,
I would think so. But then like I worry about getting jobs because on a resume, you put like how long you've been at that job.
Exactly.
And then they're like, oh, well, you don't stick around, so we're not going to hire you.
I'm glad that you said that because I definitely hold that true. And I would look at that as somebody who hires people. Like, I would definitely look at that as like, ooh, I need you for more than a year. I need you for more than 2 years. I definitely think a little bit longer term than that. So maybe it's just an easier way for the people who do stick around to go like to stand out. If everybody's doing this, if like the new lowest common denominator is everybody's staying at their jobs for a year and a half, then the people who actually do stick around, they're just that much further ahead. So that's the positive, I guess, if we're able to go through some rough times.
Yeah.
And do you think this all comes from sports for you too? Like, it all comes from that? Is there anything else that comes to mind with that kind of stuff?
Just with like quitting and
like where that like, because it seems like it's just like rooted in you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I always want to do the best with whatever it is that I do. So like trying to determine when to quit, like, am I at my best, or like, do I still need to get there to really enjoy the thing? So
you're a pretty reflective type of person, I gather. When did you really start leaning into that side of yourself? You're like, let's think about think about things? Do you remember like that? Was there a turning point, or is it more just as of late?
Yeah, I mean, I was always raised really well, just like,
That's
to
nice to
be.
hear. Oh,
I
I love
was
that.
like, I've
Yeah.
got good parents, they taught me to be grateful and treat others the way that you want to be treated.
Hmm.
So like all of that was kind of rooted in me at a like young age. But I would say when I turned 25, there was like a turning point for me that was just like very reflective of just life and
Yep.
how much like people complain about the tiniest things while there's a war going on right now, and it's
Yeah.
you know it's sad, honestly, the way that the world is. It's sad.
Can I ask how old you are now? Like how long ago was 25? It could
Yeah,
be like I could look at you like that could have been last year. Like I have no idea.
I'm gonna be 29 in
Okay.
July, so
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, like that's again, like I continue to just be really impressed with people in their 20s, like just seem to be like 20 years beyond where when I was in my 20s, like it was just not even remotely close to that. So
Mm.
like why 25? Like was it on like the birthday? It was like I'm 25 now. Like was there something special about that number, or was it just a culmination of experiences and or maybe somebody like inspired you to, I don't know, it is enlightened too strong of a word, but it certainly seems like a turning point happened.
It was just kind of a flip of the switch, like
Yeah,
I moved out to California for a year
that would do it.
to pursue some dreams,
Yeah.
and I was rooming with some roommates that I met in college, or some friends
Hmm.
that I met in college, and then we became roommates. And I got like a corner of the living room as
Hmm.
my room, so like there's no walls or any kind of privacy, and
Good
that was just
God.
kind of miserable. We didn't
Yeah.
agree upon, you know, who is paying, like if we're paying the same amount of rent, or because I don't have a room, if that's going to be less amount of rent. Uh,
Yeah.
so that got kind of messy, and it was just. Um, we're allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah. I mean, you should have heard a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I can't say no now.
Okay. All right. Well, I read a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yes, it's on my list, man. I've got the
Dude,
sample on my Kindle. Yeah.
it's so good. And it's just
Hmm.
brutally honest. But like
Yeah.
for me, somebody who would go past that book would think, oh, that's very negative. Why would anyone want to read that? But like when
Yeah.
you really look at the different perspective of it, it's very freeing, like,
Yes. Yeah, dude. And like, again, I don't think I even started to explore this notion or idea at all until maybe like 35, 36.
mm,
Like very, very recently for me. I'm 37 now. So I've got a couple years on you, more than a couple years. But I think that these, like, there's a series of these books as well. And basically, once you buy that one, you'll get the whole gamut
mhm.
from Amazon and everything. And I think they're all quite enlightening. I want to go back to where in California were you in LA pursuing dreams in
Yep.
like LA kind of thing, like acting and stuff?
Yeah, so after sports, like I got to high school and I was like, I'm gonna be the basketball star,
Yeah.
of my high school.
Were you
Well,
good?
for 5'6", and somebody who really looked up at Muggsy Bogues, who was 5'5",
Yeah,
and Earl
man.
Boykins, who was 5'9",
Yeah.
or 5'5".
Anything's possible.
Yeah, Muggsy Bogues was 5'3", 5'5". I got it mixed up, but
That's
whatever. That's
insane, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I realized I probably am not tall enough to join the NBA. So
Yeah.
I went into theater.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that theater choir journey took me.
Hmm.
Then I went
You think, is
to
that a rare thing to go from like jock to theater? Like I feel like that's a rare breed, actually.
possibly, but at the time, High School Musical was very popular. So
Okay. Yeah.
maybe there was, again,
It
like,
transcended.
yeah, these parents that are like pushing one thing, we
Yeah.
all were just like, no, we're going to go a different way. Maybe it's all High School Musical that we have to blame for us
That
trying to
is
be
hilarious.
more independent and, you know, do the things that we love.
This is something that we can probably just count on for the rest of time, actually, is kids at a certain point will just go like, no, I'm going to do something else. And you're just not going to know what direction that's going to be. Like
Mhm.
if the rebellious phase is going into theater, bring it on, man.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
I mean, it's allowing people to be more creative too, and
Oh yeah.
allowing them to be themselves. I think there was a lot of that back in like our parents' age, where it was like,
Yeah.
it was
Freedom, free love, just whatever.
well, not
Well, it
only
depends on
that,
how
like,
my parents are a little older, I guess.
well, that's what I was gonna say is like there's like you don't have ADD or something like that. You like just stick it out. Or just I don't know. Like I think we've just have been more accepting of people in some areas. There's still some room to grow, but
that's so true. And that's the thing that I struggle with so much, is because like tolerance is promoted. And I really believe that we're making progress on like tolerance. But at the same time, it's like there's this other side of it that like just swings its ugly head, rears its ugly head. And yeah, we're not quite there, really, are we? Like there's still even age old, pockets of the population that are still totally marginalized, and that still sucks. But it's also like this side of the people who are preaching tolerance are the first to cast stones, and that kind of stuff really frustrates me, because we're so close, but it's also this mob mentality that happens sometimes that there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like, anyways.
Yeah, it's I try to just have respect with everyone, even if it's different point of views that could be frustrating. Like,
how dare you?
Right.
How dare you? Yeah, you've obviously chosen a side when you say that.
Yeah. Well, the internet, wants to just argue all the time. And I actually really like the internet. I know people will say like it's the worst thing that has ever happened to us, but like without it, we would not be having this conversation. I would have no idea who you are.
I know. I really do. It's funny that you say that, because I really was just thinking that earlier today, that yeah, it gets such a bad rap. It's just like video games gets a bad rap. There's a lot of things that like a lot of times when people don't fully understand, or they're only looking at a particular part of it, and they try to explain all of it with that like negative example. And the internet gets this all the time. But there's a lot of like motivation, and a lot of even the book that you just talk about. It's like, I wouldn't have known of that if it wasn't for the internet and people talking about it. And there's a lot of my even just YouTube shorts that come along with like, I feel very motivated this last week to get active and stuff. And my YouTube channel or my YouTube algorithm knows it, and it is feeding that motivation every day. And I am here for it, dude. Like, I know that's kind of creepy that it knows what I'm into at the time. And I don't know what that says about my being influenced by YouTube's algorithm. Like, whatever, man. I think I'll take it as a good thing, at least for now.
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, we all need help, right? All need motivation to keep us going. So.
I think so. So where did you kind of like, okay, wait, I want to actually, how did you do in theater? First of all, like you say, you're playing, you're getting your head crushed in football. You decide to go into theater. Yeah. Were you a star immediately? Like, you seem to be good at basketball, but like, you're throwing that away. Like, was it a pretty natural transition into theater life and drama geeks?
I mean, it's something that I always wanted to do. I grew up, watching a lot of TV and movies, and in ways felt like I loved watching Fresh Prince. And so sometimes like, I don't know if there's a higher power or not, but in a way it felt like Fresh Prince, like those episodes were talking to me, because sometimes, Will would get in trouble for something that seems so outrageous and dumb. And I'm like, I feel the same way. I just got yelled at today too. And then here's Uncle Phil coming in with a great message, and then Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
I loved watching all of them. So jumped into it. And I did all right with some improv, but like reading a script and all of that, it was hard for me. I grew up in special reading classes, and so I didn't really understand it very well. But I loved having just the community, honestly, like the theater family that you get. And that comes with sports too, but just being around people that like can help you out along the way, and you're on the same team. Love that. So then I went to college and studied acting and directing, and co-created an improv group. And,
oh, no way.
It was called Oddly Appropriate.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
How would you guys perform? Like, what would you do?
We would go to the campus, like lounge place, and we would sell out every time we would perform, and like people would have to like stand in the back. So that was always fun. We do short form games like you would see on Whose Line, and then we also would do long form. So like you just give us a word and then you just do a scene for like 30 minutes.
30-minute improv.
Yeah.
That feels like
hard to do, man.
It must be hard to do, and it must be also hard to like maintain attention with the audience and stuff. Like, how do you? I guess they know what they're in for. I suppose like they know what you guys are about to. It's not like you surprise them with here's 30 minutes, enjoy this.
No, like they know ahead of time.
Yeah.
But it's you have to give them a story. So even if it's not funny, you still are like keeping the scene alive. You're creating this thing out of thin air that doesn't even exist.
Was that still the goal with like a longer form kind of thing? Like short form, we all know Whose Line Is It Anyways? Like, was it a similar type of goal that it was going to be punchy and funny, or was it more on a performance kind of, maybe even more dramatic kind of improv? Like, did that exist in improv at all? I only know it to be funny, so I don't know if there's versions of improv that's like not funny.
Oh man, yeah. So I mean, like, you go and you want them to be funny, right? You want to laugh and have a good time. But then some of the scenes that, if like, the audience is just watching for the sake of the story, like they're not even there to laugh anymore.
Yeah.
Those are some great scenes. And like, I mean, you don't know where it's going to take you that night. So you just go with it.
Do you remember anything like that comes to mind? Or like, I feel like Whose Line just completely changed the world. And it also I feel like it probably made like everybody think that they could just do improv. So there's probably maybe a bad side to that. But a friend of mine, he really wanted to go to LA and pursue acting. He was really into it. And we both just loved this. And there was one time where we had to make some sort of like presentation in grade 9, and we purposely didn't do the assignment so that we would have to make it up on the spot as we did it. And we made up this stupid story about our teacher and her pet owl. And it's like, I don't know exactly what ended up happening there, but we have this memory of us ignoring the assignment, talking about Espo and her owl. And that was just like so special. I can't believe we got away with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, if there's anything like any one night that kind of stands out for you during that time.
Not really. I will say, like, the way we came up with our name was before we even had a name, we were just doing like a improv, just like practice, I guess, session. And we played a game called Slips. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I don't recall.
So like you have people in the audience who will write down slips. It usually helps if you write like a person, place, or thing. And so before the performance, you would grab like 3 pieces of paper, the actors, and then as they're doing the scene, whatever like the suggestion was, say it's like, I don't know, Mount Everest or something. You're doing a scene on Mount Everest. You're doing the scene, and it's like, oh, well, we shouldn't climb up the mountain because some guy told me, and then you pull out a slip and it's like some kind of saying. And like the scene just worked so well with all of the slips that we did. And we were like, that was like oddly appropriate. And that's kind of how we came up with that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh my God. It's like a live action Mad Libs. Like, it's actually better than Mad Libs, honestly, because you just kind of like set something. You must know that like people are just going to say some pretty crazy stuff in your pocket. So like, even just to juxtapose, like, I went to a priest and he said blah, blah, blah. Like, and then it's just something awful. Like,
there's times where it's just like one word and it doesn't even go with the scene, but you go with it.
Yeah. Yes, let's. Oh my gosh. That is awesome.
Man,
I want to watch some freaking Whose Line, and that show kept going on as well. Wasn't like Aisha Tyler? Like,
Aisha Tyler.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because Drew Carey went on to do Price is Right and lose 200 pounds or something crazy like that. That's awesome. So whatever happened with all that? Like, so you were in college with that, and then like what happened next?
Content creation.
Yeah, TikTok, Twitch,
really,
YouTube.
that's where it landed. It's really different though, because like I've had problems with it recently where it just feels very isolated because you're not like
Interesting.
with a group of people. It's just a one person show, you know,
Yeah.
whether you're streaming or creating or whatever it is, like it's just you in front of a camera and hopefully the audience is loving it, but you don't know.
That is weird. And it's funny because when the world shut down, I feel like stand-up comics kind of got a little bit of that as well. Like they kind of had to do some version of this, and then maybe they were doing maybe rooftop stuff. Like everybody had to kind of adjust a little bit. But there is something special about being able to do something with, even if it's the same thing, like we could go on stream and we could do like a video or voice chat or whatever, but it's not quite the same as if we were in the same room, kind of just, I don't know, what is it about that? Like is some sort of energy or some sort of, is it just the lack of lag? Like what is it about if we were to do something in person together versus this basically?
I mean, I think it's just human interaction. Like,
Yeah.
This is still a screen, you know, so like there's glass that is, you know, between us, and it's not like I can reach out and we can shake hands, you know, that kind of thing. It's just different.
Yeah.
And maybe you shouldn't rely on energy or expect, you know, any kind of positive reception. Like that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
But like if you're always expecting it, that's going to drive you down to the ground. You know, it's still kind of this chase to yeah,
that is true. And so there's a discipline maybe that can come out of like this, like doing it just alone in our rooms, because there's no, it's kind of like working out to music. Like you get that boost and you're like, some people can even look at like if you run with music, that's almost like cheating. Like if you're able to just like perform without any sort of boost or assistance or pick me up or anything, like, yeah, I could see that maybe there's something to that. But like for those people who are able to get together, like that's kind of like, I don't know about you, but that's kind of where I want to go from here with content creation is how can I get in the same room as many people as possible? Like from here on out, I don't know how many more years we have of this sort of stuff, but like I feel like at a certain point, my kids are going to be at the age where I'm just going to I'm going to be with them all the time. It's like soccer practice and all these, like we all lived these lives. So I feel like it's coming for me at a certain point. And so, yeah, I just want to, how do I get in the same room as other people for the next couple of years anyways? I don't know. Are you anywhere near anybody else? Like you and, I mean, you're podcasting with the whole crew now. Yeah. Josh is, I don't know, probably 10 hours away. I mean, that's probably
further than that. Yeah.
Do you guys ever want to get together? Like, is that something you've talked about to try and get everybody in a similar space?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've talked about it before. We were going to do E3, you know, but that's not a thing anymore. And that's also,
how do you feel about that? How do you feel about E3? E3's gone and probably done forever. Like, I think they canceled this year still from lingering COVID stuff. Probably. I don't even remember.
I think it's that and just like that it hasn't been doing well for years now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, there's definitely some nostalgia with E3. I mean, that's like our kind of Christmas or Super Bowl, you know, like totally. It's exciting for 3 days, you know, and just learn about new games that are coming out. Do we blame Nintendo? I mean, they kind of changed the game of just doing these digital events. Like, yeah, they have awesome booths, but like they're not there in person showing you demonstrations. Like it's all digital. And now everybody's doing that.
They showed everybody that you really don't have to. And I don't know, like they had kind of dry I guess everybody back in the day had pretty dry presentations at a certain point. There was like a divergence. And I think in the early days for Nintendo too, like they were definitely criticized for that. Like they really ate shit for a couple of years at least, because PlayStation and Xbox continued to have like these moments in front of crowds, and Nintendo's over here looking like the weird kid. And it turns out that they were right about the future anyways of how people would be connecting with this stuff. They probably saved a boatload of cash, you know, especially back then when they actually probably need to be a little bit more conservative. They're doing quite well now. But yeah, like how about, we grew up or whatever, like we were watching E3, and now that you're at a point where you could be planning to go to E3 with some friends and content creators, now it's gone. Like, do you feel like something has been taken from you, or are you just kind of like, okay with this is the way of the world?
I don't know. I mean, I think you
Got to be some disappointment.
Yeah, for sure there is, but like you got to be able to accept that times are changing. As much as we don't want to accept that, like things are always changing, and
that's much more mature than my response to it.
I mean, yeah, you want to hang out with people for sure.
Yeah.
But it's also different with just the internet. I mean, we get tweets now. They're not even doing digital events. They're just like, hey, this game comes out in 2 months.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Like Nintendo especially. Nintendo is really just like, they're just doing Twitter. It's like they just found out that Twitter's a thing. Mm-hmm. They're like maybe in their minds it's like Twitter's the next thing, and they're like this is why other promotions are coming in on Twitter. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean they're always a few years behind, right? So
I know. Yeah. That's amazing, man. Well, what about you? You're now on you're streaming on Twitch, but like also TikTok. Like I feel like the whole crew is kind of discovering. Yeah. Like TikTok, like gaming scene is not to be trifled with, man. Not to be ignored.
It's interesting. I mean, I just got finished doing my second live stream with a stream key.
Yeah.
And I mean, those numbers are just insane. Like you don't see them on Twitch. So within 3 hours on a Friday afternoon, just streaming Splatoon 2, I had total views was 3,000.
Yeah. Oh my God.
68 new followers. Like,
oh wow,
it's insane.
So that's actual engagement. Like that's not just like, I don't know. It doesn't like, I mean, and maybe is there this is how dumb I haven't even watched a TikTok stream. I haven't done anything there. Like, is it like Twitch? Is it basically just like YouTube and Twitch streaming? You're just on a different platform?
You're not yet.
Chat and everything? Oh, okay. So what is it?
So like, as of right now, I mean, like you can send GIFs. Like people will send you a donut or roses and you're like, thank you. I don't understand the currency at all.
So
but
funny.
Like,
that's like Mixer. That reminds me of Mixer, actually.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird stickers or whatever they had.
Yeah, and you can just comment. But because I have a stream key, I mean, it looks exactly like it does on Twitch. I can do whatever I want with it. And I know that they have plans to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I have no doubt. Where do you see that going for you guys? Like is it just, I guess it's just the followers, like that you have like another community and more eyes on a separate platform? Because that is compelling stuff, man. Like the number of people who are over there, it's hard to ignore. And I think I saw you tweet about that, and I'm like, man, there's these warning signs all over the place that people will just completely jump ship.
Why haven't you jumped on TikTok? Just out of curiosity. You do everything else, but you are not on TikTok. And I feel like you are, like, just your presence and the way that you are able to interact and engage with people, I think would do really well over there.
It's a good question. I think I'm just doing this too often. I think I'm just like actually creating the podcast too much. And like what I would love for us to be doing just even as a group is, it's just I don't know. It's not even rocket science. It's not even a new idea. It's just like take little snippets of all the content that we create and how do you make that into a 30-second little blip? Like this is stuff you see all the time with pretty much every other content creator. It's, 20 seconds of Joe Rogan here. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say Joe Rogan without upsetting at least one person. But like that's the kind of stuff that I see all the time is like maybe there's a little blip of a great conversation that was happening and it's there. As far as streaming on TikTok, I feel like Twitch still works for me and I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah. I don't know. And it was actually very similar with Mixer. Like a lot of people went to Mixer when that was new. And there was a few people who, anytime something is new, you can have a camp of people who think like, that's the thing. That's going to be the next thing. And in the recent memory, it's like a lot of times that is actually the case, like Instagram's going to be the next thing. And like, it was pretty damn big, like, and whatever else has come along. Mixer was a miss, but I do think that there is a future on TikTok, but I guess the monetization model doesn't really make any sense to me. I'm not really sure how, like what that conversion like pathway really is. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's at the surface level of it for me anyways. So I'm always curious. I guess I don't even know what to ask, what question to ask on that. And like, where do you see things going on TikTok? Like, yeah, views, but like, then what? Like, I don't know. Does that even make sense to ask a question like that?
Um, I mean, yeah, I think like one of the reasons that I like it right now and for streaming,
Mm-hmm.
something that Twitch doesn't have is making other content on that platform except for streaming.
That's a good point. That yeah, and that's why I think YouTube has kind of already got its number as well, because you can
Hmm.
do the shorts, you can do your traditional YouTube stuff, you can do your streaming. Yeah, Twitch. I can't believe they haven't added anything to that.
Yeah. Because they're always
Who's it?
saying if you want to grow on Twitch, you got to grow on other platforms. And it's like, well, wait, why? How come I
Yeah,
can't grow on Twitch?
yeah, that is
Yeah.
so interesting. Yeah, because you kind of just have to be pulling in audiences who are there already. It's almost too niche. Like it was so niche in the beginning. It's like you knew exactly what to expect when you got there.
Hmm.
You're gonna find gaming streams, which is great. But now we don't really need that anymore. I don't. I guess maybe is that kind of where we're ending up here? Is we don't need a dedicated game streaming platform where because you can just find that amongst so many other things to spend your time and your impressions.
I guess so. I mean, Twitch was like one of the first live stream platforms, right? And then
Yeah.
everybody else just started doing lives as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, and YouTube, it seemed like really had to catch up on that front. And Twitch just got propelled when they got bought out by Amazon. It's hard to remember a time when
Yeah.
that wasn't the case. And I can still remember a time when I looked at a Twitch logo and went, "What's Twitch?" Like I had my own Gordon Ramsay moment. Like, what the hell is Twitch? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitely on that front. But for me, like it's always about like there's always an end. I don't know if it's an end goal, but there's always like something else to it. So I've never looked at like podcast listen numbers. I rarely look at the numbers, period. But then also, even if I were, it would have to lead to something else for me in my mind. Like I've always kind of thought, if I'm going to if I'm going to look at analytics, then
Hmm.
I want to look at like the pathway
Hmm.
of what. So what? So I have 10,000 subscribers on, which we don't. So what? We have 1,000 subs on YouTube. Like what do we want to get out of that? And
Real
to
quick,
us, like
was
sorry.
your so what? Was that a reference to Reggie
Dude,
Fils-Aimé?
no, I've always actually, it's funny that you say that because I have always been very early in my career. I was coached to kind of like, okay, get to the point. So like, tell me, so what? You can create
Huh.
your observations and everything, but always end up with a so what. That was like one of the first things I learned coming out of school. And then I read Reggie's book and I'm like, I've been doing this for 15 years. Like this
Yeah.
is, it was so gratifying. There's actually quite a lot of approaches and strategies that he talks about in his book that I'm like, this is very validating
Oh,
for me
interesting.
because yeah, there's a lot. I think that book it's good for Nintendo nerds, but I think anybody who's just trying to figure out what their path in a career path should be,
Hmm.
should be that. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I've always thought of it that way. So what? Like this is cool. What's next? And
Right.
Discord is part of that is as far as like what's the answer. I think Discord has a lot to do with that, like creating a place for people to come and hang out and meet other people and talk about things that they really enjoy. So that's like it's not just the listens on the podcast, like how do we get them to Discord? And then
Sure.
tied to that is Patreon as well.
Yeah.
So basically like it all funnels to either Patreon or Discord, but the journey is the gratifying part all along the way, right? So I get to hang out with you tonight, and I get to have chats like this every single week. And if we fire up a stream, we can hang out with great people and all this other stuff. That's the journey that I love every single moment. Because if it was really just about a Patreon, like the Patreon, even as successful as it is, doesn't not enough to sustain life for 4 people here.
Hmm.
So it has to be more than even that. And I'm always looking at stuff as there's something more. There's got to be something else to it. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out how TikTok fits into the whole picture. And maybe the answer is there's a whole group of people we haven't met yet who are only on TikTok and would be welcome into the whole family, the whole picture kind of thing.
So I guess like what is it that and, I mean we don't have to keep talking about TikTok, but I know you as a content creator, like you said, you're always looking for the next thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what you do is really good. What is it that you're looking for in TikTok? Because if I'm being honest, like it's the biggest uh, app in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at music, that has changed everything.
I know.
Um,
I don't know how I feel about that either, but it's like
oh,
you
interesting.
you
Yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah,
create
yeah.
music to be popular on TikTok. You hope to be one of those songs kind of thing. Like
Right. I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
that's a thing. Like you used to write like singles, and then we actually got to a point where albums mattered, and then we're back to singles again, but almost like a hyper realized version of writing a single.
Yeah.
It's like a little clip of a single, like maybe
Yeah.
for 30 seconds is kind of what they do now. Yeah.
Yeah. I know Beyonce at one point was talking about that, where it's like people don't create albums anymore. It's just single after single. What can we put on the radio? And like, part of me thinks, again, like, just need to accept that the times are changing. But from an artistic standpoint,
Yeah.
like, you really do lose a lot.
Yeah. Right. But we've been here before. Like you had, I don't even know what you had like these small vinyl. Like we went through this period before where singles were everything.
Mhm.
And then it went to more albums as I don't even know exactly what ended up changing there, but like we've fluctuated back and forth between is it better and maybe part of it too is like where does the live performance fit into all of this? Because that's really like where I think maybe where all the money is made, but maybe not. Maybe that's the problem is TikTok is completely changing all of this, where you can live off of like being a one hit wonder. I don't know, but I feel like there's something still to be said about an artist who creates just a lifetime catalog of work, and I feel like that's got to be more than just singles. Is I guess my uneducated take on the music
No, I get
industry.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes into the movie industry as well. It's,
Yeah.
I'm part of the problem because I love the MCU, and
I know,
that's,
right? And it's all we get.
yeah, I mean, that's everything. But then
Yeah.
you have beautiful movies like Everywhere or Everything Everywhere All at Once. And, like,
Don't get many comedies these days, though. Like that's the other. Like you talk about the changing of times. Like you don't get Anchorman or Talladega Nights. I mean, those all Will Ferrell, really. But like old school, all these. There's different. There's weird pockets of time, and I think it's interesting to kind of to look at that stuff. But maybe to answer your earlier question, it's maybe a little bit of trying to figure out what I'm actually good at and doing that. And
interesting.
whenever you venture off into something new, there's going to be growing pains with it, I feel. And is it just, am I stretching myself one extra platform too much? And am I asking my community to go, I'm also here on TikTok and I'm also like,
yeah,
I don't know. And that's the reason I don't typically co-stream or rebroadcast from Twitch and YouTube, where some creators will do both at the same time. Like I feel like that's asking too much of the community, but there's a discovery element that I'm missing out on that I'm quite aware of as well.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. And I think it's very thoughtful of you to think that way. It's,
like, do you have an established, like you're streaming on Twitch the other night. Do you feel like when you stream on TikTok, do you feel like you're abandoning Twitch, like your Twitch audience at all?
yeah. I mean, like, that's where the community pretty much started, and you don't want to leave those people behind.
Right.
Which, again, I hope that I'm not doing and that you can bring them onto other platforms. But I hear what you're saying. Like, you don't want to have them be exhausted, by everything that you're doing. But if they really are into your stuff and it is different enough for them to, check out your video here on YouTube, TikTok is completely different. Your streams on Twitch are different. Like, that gives them a reason to still hang around. I don't know. I mean, like, if we really get into all content creation, it gets kind of gross, but it can be kind of fun as well.
How, I don't necessarily disagree, but yeah, talk to me more about how it can get a little bit gross.
Well, I mean, especially with like Nintendo, it's definitely something that I love, but I'm like promoting this company that is not really giving me anything in return other than, their products. It's basically just like, hey, this game, this is fun. And I definitely always want to be honest, if I don't like something, I'm going to say that, but I don't know. It's every week now there's a new talking point of like, oh, Kirby's so good. We love Kirby. And then it's like, oh, Fire Emblem is out. Fire Emblem is great. And you just hope that people are being honest and not just, trying to go for clout.
Oh, dude, I think about that all the time, and it's a really hard line. It's actually a hard conversation to have as a content creator.
Sure.
Because I think that everybody is observing this sort of thing, and we all kind of struggle with like, what is the level of authenticity from the people who are talking about this stuff? But it's also like we're right there. It's like, hey, kettle, you're black. Like, hey, pot, you're like, who are we to say? Because we're also doing the same thing. But we all hope. I think we all think that we're all being authentic. But is there anybody out there who genuinely dislikes something and will turn the camera on and go, I'm stoked about this? Like, I don't think it's quite that opposite. But maybe there's some leaning here and there. And I think about this kind of stuff all the time, honestly, because my profile picture is me lifting a Series X over my head that was sent to me by Xbox Canada. Like, there's something that comes along with that. So people go, like, I understand when people might go, oh, sure, you're being critical of PlayStation right now. And it's like, well, I actually spent dollars on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that also say something? Like, I actually, like, could have not bought a PlayStation. But
yeah, I love your profile pic, by the way. It's it makes me happy. It's one of those profile pics where you just see it and it's like, oh, there's a story here,
Oh my gosh, there really is. I just have I just have the best wife ever. Like, she drove the truck around and we unboxed it. I didn't even have to like really explain what I wanted to do. She's just like, all right, let's go. We mounted GoPro to the back of the car. She drove around a parking lot with the kids inside, like just for a couple laps. And yeah, like that's just it. So I held it up like a Stanley Cup, for God's sakes. What else do you want?
We're kind of jumping all over the place, but I do have a question for you.
Bring it on, man.
All right. So you're married.
Yes.
I'm getting married next month.
Yes.
How do you deal with content creation and having that married life and, like the support each other, like what's the key, the secret there?
That is a really good question. I think it changes as time goes on. I've been married for a little over 8 years now. And when I was getting married, I was maybe in a similar spot to you where I was just kind of just starting to get into it. I was big into listening to like Podcast Beyond, and there's a big Canadian, Victor Lucas up here, used to be on TV, and I was really inspired by him. So I was, hearing from all these people, including like Kevin Smith and the Victor Lucases of the world and the Greg Millers, and everybody had the same question for people like that. Like, how do I get into this industry? And people would just say, well, just start. So I was just getting started into it, and I was really starting to enjoy it. And I was really leaning into the fact that we were deciding that we were going to be together for the rest of our lives. And like, that helped me just like be super comfortable and confident in like doing whatever I wanted to do, whatever seemed to be like excitable for me. I found in Chelsea like support, like, and no judgment, and actually kind of the opposite of that. Like, she would actually do what I would never even dream of doing, which is tell people in real life that I'm going to go do a podcast. Like, she was excited for me. Yeah. So for me, it actually wasn't necessarily anything that like even I started. I was just very lucky to have partnered up with somebody who was going to support that dream. And in fact, that's something that she even said in her vows, like, I'm here to support you and like help you realize your dreams. But in terms of like time and balance and everything like that too, like it has definitely fluctuated. I'm probably doing the most I've ever done now, but early on, like 8 years ago, like not even close. And I've slowly but surely like found I can do little stuff over here and I can do little stuff over here. So I guess obsessive time management maybe is the secret to that, and constantly talking about it. Like Chelsea and I talk about this stuff all the time. And to the point now where it's maybe turned a corner where we don't even really need to talk about it too much. I just mentioned to her earlier today, I'm like, well, I had to shift the podcast to 6:30 so I can go to my parents' house and watch the hockey game. Right. And it's just, this is our lives now. So yeah, I think just depending on like, maybe I'll flip the question back to you. Like, your fiance, like how, like, what's the support level? Like, how do you anticipate this is going to be a problem? You're going to be wanting to do this sort of stuff?
Not at all. She's very supportive, and the same way that you were talking is like, probably pushes me a little more than, like I guess I always feel guilty because I'm like, I know that I love these hobbies that I do, right? But I want to spend time with you. But
Yeah.
she's like, no, go do your thing. Like, if this is what you want to do, then you should be doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we speak all the time, and it's nice to have somebody who is like that. And I guess kind of bringing it full circle, like she definitely will tell people, like, oh, I'm on TikTok, or yeah, he won a game award, or
Yeah,
whatever. Like
man.
it's
She's a real
nice.
champion for you, dude.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, like everything is easy from there, like
I mean, it's the being accepting of being a nerd,
yeah.
and she kind of grew up in the same way where she was a closeted nerd, I would say,
Yeah.
more than me. But then when I
Yeah.
was able to introduce her to some of the things that I like, then she really started to like, I guess, be interested in the things that I like, or maybe I just said that. I don't know. It's it's just it's nice to have that support and
No
the
kidding.
push, but you still
It's
want
the
to make
push.
sure that you're still, giving the same amount of energy and time into the relationship that you do with content creation. And content creation, I mean, it just seems like, I don't know how you do it, man, because you're everywhere.
like I said, obsessive time management and
Yeah.
boundaries. I think boundary settings was a big thing for me. Like Kato and I do the Nintendo Drive I'm at 7:30 in the morning at this point, and Ryan and I are doing the Xbox Drive at lunchtime. Like this is really the only like evening that I have to do content creation,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't really count. I do Saturday streams. I don't really count that as it. It's just kind of like it happens to be streamed, but we're playing games with everybody else. So
Mm-hmm.
I've actually I haven't really done a not multiplayer stream in a long time. Like it's always like I'm firing up Mario Kart or Splatoon or Halo or something like that, and that's kind of the entirety of my streaming, at least at the moment. But yeah, like it's definitely. I'm curious. I feel like I should have your fiance on too. Like let's get her on this thing to talk to me about what she's into, man.
Uh-huh.
How did you guys end up meeting, and how long ago was that?
Yeah, we met in theater.
Oh yes, yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
She had a very strict I don't date anyone in the theater
Yep.
because
Oh, that's so funny, dude. Chelsea and I, we met at work. We started working together, and I had a rule: I didn't want to date anybody I was working with.
uh-huh.
So that's real. And she kind of pursued it.
And she was
enough.
persistent.
She was very persistent.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So is that you?
Yeah, you just kind of wear them out, I think, and eventually they're like, fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were the persistent one. Like you
I
heard
was.
this, like, no, but not really. That's so bad. It's
Yeah.
Like, it was a no, but like not really.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kept
Yeah.
that going. And then, yeah, we just, I don't know, man. Like it's great when you have somebody that you can just bond with so
Yeah.
well, and you just see them with you the rest of your life. And
Oh
like
yeah.
one of those, cliche stuff, but it's true. It's true.
I think in the good cases, yeah, it is true. What was that moment? Do you remember where you're like, oh yeah, this is the one for it? Like, was it pretty early on?
Yeah, I saw her perform. She did a one act of Angels in America. So it's just like a scene that one of the directing students was putting on for a grade, and she got cast. And I am somebody that really is driven by people's like talent or dreams or
Yeah.
aspirations, like whatever it is. I'm the type of person that wants to help you keep that going. Like if you have something there, like I want to help you grow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it was definitely just seeing her act, and then the type of person that she was. We had conversations to find out that we only lived 45 minutes away from each other growing up, like.
Oh wow,
wild.
and you ended up meeting somewhere completely different. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
4 hours
Yeah.
away from where we lived. So
Yeah. That's cosmic, dude. Like that's something you think back on big time, and all the like the life decisions that either of you or both of you would have had to make to end up in that spot, and you could have ended up anywhere else. That's special, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you guys both have this very like encouraging kind of mentality, and yeah, the creative itch or muscle that you got to keep it going. Like I think that's an element to it. I remember thinking like before Chelsea and I got married, because we both definitely bonded on, amongst other things, like we had similar dogs and they were even named similar names. We had all these kind of like things that kind of came up, but really like video games was kind of at the crux of it all. And I remember thinking like, is that how I make a life decision like this? Like, is that like a good idea? And it turned out it was actually all right, but it's not exactly something we talk about as, it's not something my parents prepared me for to like look for in a partner, but it definitely, it's weird how it works out that way, isn't it? Like what should you be looking for? And sometimes you don't even know, but you know it when you see it, I guess.
I mean, I don't know what it's like for people to date today. Like I wasn't.
Oh, no kidding.
I didn't do dating apps, so I can imagine
same.
It's very complicated. But I think you have to know that whoever you're going to be with, they're going to have flaws, and you're just going to have to accept those. They're not going to be perfect. And sadly, I think, all those dating apps just kind of become a game because you just keep swiping and you're like, that person's great, but like what else, and you're just wanting more, but I don't know. Like I'm sure it's very complicated.
Pretty soon I'm going to be doing this show and I'm going to be asking similar questions of people like, how did you meet? And it's like, I swiped right. Like, I don't even know what's the good one. Like I just happened to, and that's what I did. And it's like, it's fine. It's not a judgment, but it's not, there's just not as like, there's not quite that same moment of we both happen to move hours away from where we grew up and we managed to be, at the same place, but we actually grew up 45 minutes away. Like those stories are going to go away, or maybe the ones that remain will be just that much more rare and special, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm glad there's certain things about things changing and me getting old that are depressing, but that's something I don't mind missing at all. Like not even a little bit.
Yeah.
But speaking of meeting people, how did you end up meeting N64 Josh? Because that's how I ended up meeting you, being asked to join you guys on the show. So,
right.
And I was curious, like how'd your paths cross?
Yeah. So I swiped right.
Nice. Yes. Yeah.
It was TikTok.
Dude, there should be a thing for that. Actually, there should be a meet a content creator kind of thing. Like if you're looking for, it's kind of like, I don't know, here in Canada, everybody's trying to put together a hockey team. So, but goalies are in hot demand. So you're trying to find a goalie at some point because nobody has pads and equipment. But
yeah, I don't remember what the name of the app is, but here we have something where it's like, hey, you want to be my friend?
Oh, I love that. Like something like platonic something or other. Oh.
Yeah. But to me, it's just sketchy because you don't know.
I know
how that's going to go, but hopefully you were, hoping that it's going to be what
not be a murderer.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So where did so you swiped right on Josh?
Yeah. So TikTok.
No way. Like you found him like with his content on TikTok and you reached out to him?
And that's how I found John Ebo as well, was on TikTok.
No way.
So
see, this is it, man. I feel like that's actually the best pitch for TikTok I've heard yet, honestly. Yeah. Cause like you wouldn't have found him on, would you have been watching Twitch or YouTube or anything like that? Or like,
not really. I mean,
just discoverability is non-existent over there, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been really into apps. I don't know, like when they kind of started, just fascinated with them. And so I had an Instagram account, but was kind of doing my own thing. Yeah. And then 2017 rolled around and I got the Switch and I shared a screenshot and I was like, there's something here where I could like just start sharing gaming stuff with people, thinking that this has never been done before. But then to find out that there's like a whole community of gamers that are doing the same thing. So like I was on Instagram and then I think I got a Twitter because of Vine. And then
Vine, nice. Yeah.
And then rolled into TikTok and you just kind of are on that same train of content creation, right? So you find people that are doing the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you just doing the one show, or what else you got in the pipeline here?
Yeah, right now, I mean, I'm just doing the Nintendo Powercast with them. I mean, it was very nice. They
Just happens to be like the #1 Nintendo podcast on the internet.
they invited me to be
That's
a guest, and then they were like, "Hey, we're looking for a fourth. Do you want to join us?" And I was
Wow.
like, sure. I feel completely out of place with you guys, but
Did you really?
yeah, you seen all of them? They all wear hats. I don't wear a hat.
As I'm wearing a hat right now, that is so funny. Like, should I send you a hat? Like, we should hook you up with a hat. If that would make you
I did have one bit.
comfortable.
I think it was like the second or third episode I was on, and I told them
That is
like I
so
feel very
funny.
out of place, so I
They
stole
all
one
have
of
hats.
I stole one of Hannah's hats, my fiance, and she's got
Yeah.
like one of those hats that like Princess Peach wears in Odyssey. That's like the
Oh
sun
my
hat, you know.
gosh.
So I wore
Yeah.
that for the rest of the podcast.
I love it, man. Well, and especially like what a concern on an like primarily, I guess, audio kind of experience for the
Oh,
most
yeah.
part. Like obviously you guys do video too, but like what a concern. Like what about like from a like because I don't know, Josh has been doing this stuff like forever. I'm not sure exactly how long some of those other guys have been doing it. Johnny, I feel like John Ebo's been doing this stuff for a long time too.
He's been for a while.
Yeah. Was it that part of it that like you're jumping into something that was well established, or and how did you kind of deal with that kind of adjustment?
With meeting them, or
Yeah, and just kind of feeling like maybe you were a fish out of water a little bit, or I don't know, like maybe describe further, like how were you, other than the hats thing, like what was the incongruence?
Yeah, so I mean, like meeting them, it was early TikTok, so you're just trying to find
Yeah.
people that you can interact with or hang out, or have similar interests and hobbies. And then when they invited me on the podcast, I think I told you this, like I just grew up in a household where you don't interrupt. So like podcasting is very hard
that's
for
right.
me.
We did talk. Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
Yeah. And especially as an actor too, like one of the most important skills to have is listening.
Yeah.
Al Pacino has a quote that's listening is as important as being listened to.
Mm-hmm.
And podcasts, it was hard for me at first.
Because when do you ever decide that now is the time that you're going to jump in, especially if you're a fourth? There's 3 people already who have no problem. They could each individually fill an hour on their own.
Yeah, there could be complete silence, and then I start talking, and then they start talking, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
My bad.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny too, because my Lincoln, my son, he's 5 and he interrupts all the time, and it's very frustrating. And he'll just like,
did he
he'll
get that from you?
Well, I don't know. I guess like, depends on like at what point does that of like what version of me are you talking about? Like
It's just
kid
like
me?
podcasting if he's listening.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he is, but like me as a kid, I grew up in a very similar household as you, where it's like, shut up, the adults are talking.
Mm-hmm.
And that impacted me for years and years and years, where I was a very quiet, very shy kid, and I was listening often until content creation comes around. I'm like, oh, this is what my voice sounds like when nobody else is saying anything.
Yeah.
And I can actually complete a sentence. It was like, I was actually very uncomfortable with it for a long time. But now I'm trying to balance this. It is very rude for my 5-year-old to interrupt, and he has to learn that, there's a point in time where you can enter in a conversation. But I don't want to permanently damage him like a lot of us have been in the past, where I don't want to make him just like sit there in silence for an entire night and feel like he's not like part of the family and part of the conversation and things like that. That's definitely something that runs through my mind for sure. Yeah,
I mean, for me, like those guys, they're bigger. Like they're bigger dudes, and I'm not, So like the way that I always grew up was kind of the same as you. Like you sat at the kids' table. And, you're not a part of the adult conversations, and you respect authority, and so like I always feel like I'm looking up at people.
Mm-hmm.
Like is it okay for me to talk, and so that's something that I've had to learn a lot. That's interesting, but it also, I think, like just it automatically makes you different.
like that, and different in a good, like in a unique way. And I think that's something that every one of us has to give some consideration to, is like, what makes us a little bit different than the person who's next to us. And my co-host on the Nintendo Drive, I think, is a great example of this. And I think hopefully it's fair for me to speak on her behalf on this, but back when we met, we were both very good friends with Bobby Pauls, who we've talked about. Like, you know, you want to talk about big personalities, this big dude from Jersey with his Jersey attitude and everything, just like larger than life kind of personality.
Yeah.
And there was quite a few people and Josh is a good example of this too. And if you look on like gaming personalities, everybody's a Greg Miller and all these other like big voices.
Yeah.
And I think that she kind of struggled a little, at least for a little while, maybe a short period of time, of, is that what is required? And she came to realize that no, that's not what's required. She just leaned into her own personality. 100,000 subs later on YouTube, like she's kind of found herself and her voice, and it's different than Big Loud Bobby over here, or Josh or me or whatever. Yeah. So there's something to be said about that, I think.
Yeah, I think about that all the time when it comes to energy, because even like when I was acting on stage, like I'm not all crazy, you know, like that's just not me. I'm very reserved and observant, I think.
Yeah.
So like the people that have that energy and right out the gate, you know, and I don't know how people do it with streaming, because you got to be on it for like 3 to 4 hours.
Dude, hours, man. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
And so I always feel like whenever I talk, it sounds boring, or like my voice is boring, you know, or I'm not being super excited about this thing that we're talking about. But
yeah, why aren't you like falling off your chair or something, or like punching your microphone, or I don't know, running out the window? You know, you're just sitting there like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
But that's just it. Like, that's the thing, is everybody tries to chase one side of it, and it's like, well, just veer a little left, just a little bit. Doesn't even have to be like totally the opposite direction. But I think Kato's a good example of this. I think you're a good example of this. Another one of our friends, Rybo, who's recently started streaming, and he's a little bit more of a shy personality, and people, it resonates with somebody, with some people. Like that's the magic, to the point earlier about like the good stuff about the internet, is there are micro communities that can be created around almost anything now. And that's awesome. We can all find a group of people that either act like us, they think like us, they speak like us, they play the same kind of stuff. Like, I think that kind of stuff is totally fascinating. And it just took this interconnected world technology to do it. Like, we would never find this in our own limited communities, in our towns and home cities and things like that. So
yeah, I mean, like, I know we're kind of going in circles now, but it's interesting where technology took us, because from a theater perspective and acting, like we have our cameras in our pocket, you know, we are the star of our own show wherever we go. And that is something that was able to give us a voice. So maybe theater isn't for you. And it's so interesting when you talk to content creators and you're like, oh, did you do theater? Like, you seem like someone, and they're like, no, I didn't do that. Or like, were you in band, or any kind of like artistic kind of hobby? But no,
just
like,
imagine if they were, though, you know?
Yeah, right. Like, where would they be? Would they still be doing the thing that they're doing now, or different path, you know?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I don't know. It's now so easy to do that. You can do, like, I don't necessarily like flex my creative muscle at work or do anything even remotely like this.
Yeah.
So now it's nice that I can have this in my life as well. And the world, for the most part, is convenient enough that I can have time to do all this stuff. Like, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but we don't go to the bank, you know, like we don't have to, like, we don't get, like, our paychecks are automatically put into our bank accounts. That is the future, dude. Like, that is, like, we used to have to like get the paycheck and go to the bank, and at some point they installed the machines that you could maybe deposit those in, and then even then, as convenient as that was, you'd wait a few days to be able to access the money. Like, we used to do stuff, and now we don't have to do anything. We barely even have to think to have like groceries delivered or anything like that, like, or just books or anything. We don't have to do anything. We can do everything from sitting at our homes, which means that we now have so much more time to either flex our creative muscles, flex our actual muscles. You know, we can have multiple hobbies now where there's no way that this would have been possible. And you can either get really excited about that notion, or you can be paralyzed by, I don't know what to do, and I have no excuse not to be doing anything. And I think that has been probably some of my darker times, where I've been well aware of the time on my hands that I have, and I wasn't doing anything with it. And that kind of stuff isn't very good for my brain, I don't think. So I'm just kind of glad that I've got this, keep my busy brain occupied and working towards something, and meeting friends along the way is kind of my whole approach with it too. And I feel like that resonates with you as well. I think we chatted on the last, when I was with you guys after the show recording with you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just the drive and trying to keep this thing alive, and what can we do in ways we're distracting ourselves, I think, to create, instead of, I know I do that. Like, I don't really want to focus on work that much. So
no.
I'm trying to
avoid at all costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For that to be like your personality, like your persona, like for it to be completely linked and locked to your work life. I don't know, man. There's too many hours in a day. There's too many years to live for it to be all for that. I don't know. Yeah. I think more and more people are kind of discovering that too. Yeah. I mean, I guess I know you're probably missing your hockey game, but no, you're good. No, we're good. We're good, man. Yep. All right. No, we're cool. Good. Cool. I love quotes and learning people's stories and stuff. And Conan O'Brien has a good quote that's like, our failures perceive us. Now I'm butchering it, but it's something about like how our failures perceive us to be the people that we want to be. So like the example that he uses is that David Letterman really wanted to be Johnny Carson. So he tried to do everything that Johnny Carson did, but became David Letterman. And then Conan O'Brien wanted to be David Letterman, and he's Conan O'Brien. So it's being able to explore is very fascinating to see what people do. I mean, yeah, I think both of those paths that you just described to really take a little bit of reflection as well, of like where, like, you don't just end up there. You don't just end up being Conan O'Brien. Like, you definitely acknowledge like where along the path are you kind of like veering. You kind of lean into like, well, I guess my hair is going to do this, and I'm going to do this weird thing with my hips at the beginning. Like he kind of established his own mark, and I think that's part of what's really special about this. Like, I don't know about you, and it may be like the most intoxicating thing about content creation is like almost every day or every year or every week or whatever it is, you're like, I did that. Like, I did something that like didn't exist before. I created something that there was nothing there. Mm-hmm. And that can be very alluring. I think that same thing has to go, like, would be said about even improv, like you're doing it on the spot. Yeah. But there's certainly something about realizing potential is probably like at the core of my love for this kind of stuff. And it's the same thing with like sports and working out and all that kind of stuff too, that I'm trying to get back into right now. But like realizing one's potential is like I don't know if there's anything more rewarding than that. Maybe realizing like a loved one's potential. To your point earlier, you want other people to achieve their goals, and like that might be even more gratifying than realizing your own potential. Yeah, I mean, I have that habit of being inspired by others, but can't inspire myself, And then I've also learned like motivation, you can't always be motivated. You have to motivate yourself. So it's a catch-22, because you want to really be happy for others and the things that they're doing, but like, what about yourself? Yeah. How does that manifest in your day-to-day? First of all, how do you motivate yourself if you're feeling like, I'm not really quite feeling it? Like, do you pump yourself up? Do you just give yourself a break? Like, what do you do in those moments? Most of the time I just need to go to the gym. Yeah. And then after, because like the days that you don't want to go to the gym end up being like the best gym days. Yep. And that was me this morning. Yeah. Yeah. I literally, and actually I don't know. Maybe I overthink things too often, but I was in bed going, I actually can't go to the gym today because for whatever stupid reasons I was coming up with in my head. And it won't be a good workout because of X, Y, Z. All these really just terrible, not negative thoughts. And then I got to go. Like, I don't want to break the streak. I've got a good thing going. So I just ended up going. And I ended up having a great day at the gym. And I was convinced in my head that there's no way it could go. There's no way it was going to be a good thing. And it just goes to show that, like, especially when it comes to like negative self-thought, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah. You know, like I was convinced that even if I did go to the gym, it's not going to be productive. I'm going to be sluggish. I'm going to be slow. And I wasn't. I was loose and lucid and motivated and driven. It was like, couldn't have been more opposite from the thought that I had prior to that. And it was me reflecting on it afterwards, and maybe it's just like the runner's high or whatever was happening. I'm like, that's everything in life, man. We have no idea what's going to happen until we actually do it. And there's so much fear, or I don't know what it's not. Fear is too simplistic to really describe the things that prevent us from doing stuff. Like, it's not just fear, you know?
Sure. So I recently went skydiving.
I wanted to ask you this on my page. It's actually the last thing on my page I wanted to ask you about. How did that come about? And yeah, walk me through this experience, because I at one point would have loved to go skydiving. It is so far off of my list now, it's not even funny. But I'm curious to hear about your experience.
Is it even like, do you have a what if about it?
I don't even know. I don't even get that far. It was a thing I wanted to do, and now it was just dumb because I bungee jumped. Like, I have bungee jumped, and I would bungee jump again. But for whatever reason, I get that reaction a lot.
Yeah.
Like, why would you bungee jump and not skydive?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh. Well, I don't know. Just talking about fear, like, I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah.
So, like, looking over, like if you're on a high-rise building or looking over to the ledge, like, that's scary to me.
Is that irrational though? Like, we often talk about like these crippling fears as like an irrational fear of like, is a fear of heights? I don't think is irrational at all.
I'm dumb. What are you saying?
So like an irrational fear is like something that's like kind of unfounded. Like, you have no real reason to be.
Oh no!
At least that's my understanding of it. Like, I think you have a pretty legitimate reason to be afraid of heights.
Sure, because you like fall. That's the end of you.
Yes, you're done. And it's like, so I don't know, maybe I think another example would be like having an irrational fear, or being like claustrophobic. So being like scared of closed spaces. Yeah. So there's a certain point where that becomes a very real fear, where you actually will get stuck. But there's that sliding scale of claustrophobia where like people could think they'd be in this room and it's too small for them. That's irrational. It actually is not dangerous for them, but they make it up in their head. Heights, super dangerous. Like, gravity is a real thing. I don't care what anybody says. You're gonna go splat, and that's gonna be not so much fun.
There's people arguing about gravity.
I'm sure. I mean, probably the same people talk about the flat Earth. I think. I don't know. Yeah. Wile E. Coyote or Roadrunner. I think he never learned the laws of gravity, so he never fell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you conquering a fear? Is that like that was a purposeful? Yeah, hopefully not so head on.
In a way, I mean, like, if you can skydive, I feel like you can do anything. Like, what do you have to be afraid of?
It's true. Yeah. What about base jumping? Would you ever do that? Like cliff diving and stuff?
I don't.
That's too much, man.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I went tandem
and stuff.
I didn't go by myself. Like, I was strapped to someone.
You got to for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently you don't have to though. You could take like a 8-hour class, and then they're like, all right, go ahead.
You got to be kidding me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I went. It was like my mom and my sister, they did it 8 years ago, and I was like, well, if they could do it, I could do it.
Oh my gosh.
So I was one of those, and even though like I'm afraid of heights, you get up there, doesn't seem real that you're that high up.
You're so high, it doesn't even make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. It's weird because it's a 50-second drop, and then they deploy the parachute, and you're just floating. Hannah was saying that it really shouldn't be called skydiving. It should be called sky floating or falling. Because you're not really diving. Like, it's all controlled. It's all like. It was incredible, and yeah. So now, anytime that I get like down on myself, I try to think of that. I mean, there's going to be times where it's just like, I don't want to do any of this, or I don't believe in myself. But there's going to be at least that to look on and say like, all right, I did that.
Dude, I've been thinking about that kind of thing a lot lately, where I will look back on the last, I don't know how many years, and I've been really leaning on things that I've done in the past that are hard, or that I didn't think that I could do before, and things turned out quite well. I think it's really important for everyone to, gather up as many of those experiences as possible, whether they're jumping out of a plane or whatever it happens to be. Like maybe somebody's never ran a 5K or walked 10 miles or something like that. Like doing things you never thought was possible. You got to do that as many times. I believe that with the core of my being, that things that you just in your head, you've convinced yourself it's not possible, or I'm too afraid, or whatever it is, you push through, and there's like so much growth that comes from that, and you will lean on those experiences when things get really tough later.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're all capable of things that we don't even think is possible, but there's a reason why there's underdog stories.
Yeah.
I
mean, I've watched childbirth, dude. Like, how the heck is that possible, man? Like, holy crap, man. I have no idea.
Yeah.
On the other side of things, I've seen people slam a beer down their face in a split second. So
it's almost the same thing.
It's all relative. It's just practice. It's just sometimes our bodies are built in a certain way. We all have our skills.
Yeah.
I suppose. Oh my gosh. So you going skydiving again?
I mean,
bigger plane all by yourself?
I don't know if I would do it by myself yet. I know. I would do it again. She was freaking out the whole time because I was excited. I was like, yeah, let's do this. And she's shaking like a leaf and probably thinking like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why aren't you more nervous about this?
Totally.
Also, like, hindsight, probably shouldn't have gone skydiving like a month before our wedding. Anything is possible.
Seems like, speaking of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I think it was bungee jumping, wasn't it? Do you remember the episode with Hillary's fiance? Watching on TV, and he splats it
live on the news.
So violent.
She doesn't really get what happened.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny, dude. Oh, I love it. Well, it was great finally having you on, man, and kind of just get to know you a little bit better. I think we should probably do this again sometime.
Of course.
Do you want to tell the people where they can find all of your what's your TikTok channel? Where can people find your great content, my friend?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. As soon as we bonded over Popstar, I was like, oh, this dude is cool.
Yes, dude. Maybe the last bastion of actual good comedy movies. I don't know if there's one that came out afterwards that we can point to, but
I'm sure there is. I gotta go through the the whole queue and see what's there. But yeah, I mean, Popstar, very underrated too.
Oh my gosh, no, that's a damn shame.
I'm gonna go watch the Chip and Dale movie, and I'm like, I believe in Andy Samberg and the Lonely Island crew. Like, I think that's.
I don't know. Wait a minute. What? They're connected to that movie? I have no idea.
Andy Samberg is Dale, and Akiva is the director, and so like they have the music in there. I don't know.
That's awesome.
It's John Mulaney too. It's like all of these pieces. No way.
I have been completely ignoring this. I saw a major spoiler on Twitter today.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, well, it's a good. I kind of shrugged it off because I didn't really ever think I was ever going to watch this movie. But as soon as you tell me this, suddenly I care way more about the Chip and Dale movie, dude.
Well, hopefully it's good, because otherwise you're going to be like, what? Why does he suggest? I'm never going to listen to him again.
I got Top Gun tickets. I'm going to go see
there you go.
Tom Cruise in the sky. Yeah, man. Going to the Danger Zone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, big fan. I always stood by Tom Cruise, even if he got crazy. I don't care.
Yeah, professed his love.
Tom Cruise.
Just jumping on the couch, whatever.
Dude, speaking of, dude never got in the plane. He did skydiving. He never got in. He was just hanging on the side of the damn plane.
Oh, man.
Mission Impossible.
God.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah. He's crazy. I mean, like,
obviously.
However you want to say it, he's crazy.
He's obviously crazy.
Yeah.
But we love him. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Cheezy C64, CheeeZy C64.
I love it, man. Maybe next time you come on, we'll talk about the origin of the Cheezy name and some of those quotes that you got on your Twitter page that people should definitely follow you for and check out for a little boost of positivity, my friend.
Yeah, let's do it. It was a pleasure, man. Thank you.
This might be a weird thing to bring up. I didn't want to like taint anybody's opinion about anything at the start. I didn't want to mention this at the beginning, but I want to mention it at the end because I get self-conscious about this sort of thing. I wasn't feeling very good during this conversation, and I don't know what the heck happened. It was about 4:30 when I don't know. I wasn't feeling good. I was getting flushed. If you see it in the video, like I look awful. And usually I'm wearing a hoodie of some sort. I'm like just a shirt, you know, which is very rare. I felt like I was overheating and it wasn't the best. It wasn't the most comfortable. But you know what? The show must go on. I had a wonderful time. So yeah, I guess go check out the YouTube video if you haven't already. Go like, what is going on with his face? Oh my gosh, what the heck? But we recorded a little bit earlier because I wanted to jump off and go watch the hockey game. My Edmonton Oilers beat the Calgary Flames. Suck it, Ryan Turford. Suck it, Rybo. Suck it, Brent Robinson. Who else is out there, man? You guys are even Court Lalonde. Like have you picked the Oilers? Have you picked the Flames? Like, what are you doing there, man? I gotta call you out here, and I'm very curious what you're gonna say. And the more people I call out, the more people will like drop comments down below. So it's just like, give me that sweet engagement juice, man. I don't know. What do you guys want from me? It's I'm Canadian. My team is in the playoffs. Second round. Things are getting real. Who else is cheering for the Flames out there, man? You guys let me know. I got nobody on my side. Who's cheering for the Oilers? Tony Baker? I think I got Tony Baker on my side. Let's do this, man. Marcus O'Neill lives in Edmonton. He's cheering for the Flames. Like, what are you doing with your life? Have you guys started following Cheezy yet? Cheezy C64 on Twitter. Message him. Let him know that you enjoyed our conversation on We the GamerCast. I know that goes a long way when people, because we open up about stuff on this show. So it's nice when we get nice messages from people. That music, by the way, at the start, ocremix.org. Please go support the channel. And that was a Star Fox. Nice Star Fox little song there. Now, every episode of We the GamerCast ends in a clip with Bobby Pauls, the late great Nintendo guru, one of my best friends on the entire planet Earth. And I want to give a special shout out to Josh Stapleton, who has been just loading up my messages with a bunch of clips of Bobby. So this one was chosen by Josh Stapleton, probably the next 10 or 12, or maybe forever. Maybe this is Josh's job. Maybe we should start paying him for this. I know he would do it for free. He continues to do it for free. This is Bobby on Breaking Bells, his Animal Crossing podcast with Holly, giving crap to her about not wearing pants and talks about it in a British accent. So please enjoy. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Tell him to simmer down over there.
I am. Can you stop?
Stop it.
Maybe to stop wearing pants whenever you do.
I am wearing pants. I have proof.
She is this.
I am wearing.
You weren't
pants.
last time. We're in the middle of the show, man.
I do. I have started wearing pants.
I started wearing pants.
That's why you're wearing them today.
Got told off. No, I didn't. But I am wearing pants.
Okay.
I do now. I'm an adult. I've told you. I told you earlier on in the week. I'm an adult now.
Since when? Because last Saturday you weren't an adult. You literally turned the video off so you could go get up for a second. When you went to go look for Tom or KK Slider back there. And we had a guest on as well.
I know. I was like, excuse me. Hold on. Oh, my webcam's broken. Oh, it's back now.
Oh, I'm not wearing any pants. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Bells. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the amazing, the wonderful Holly.